So the tool perks, so we all know already that durability, this perk now prevents any durability loss in the item, and this is now called indestructible. So we have some armor perks. So reinforced. This perk has been renamed to indestructible and now prevents any durability lost on the item and reduce the chance this perk will be generated in crafting or drops. So you're going to have less of a chance to get indestructible, and it's also going to be much, much better. So corruption resistance. This now reduces the rate in which corruption builds up. Also a reduced chance this perk will be generated and crafted or dropped. So corruption resistance and reinforced are both going to be reduced, reduced chance to have it when you craft items and in drops. Blight resistance. This now reduces the rate in which blight builds up. Also a reduced chance that it's going to be generated and crafted or drops. Freedom. So freedom's got a big buff. Increased reduction from 3 to 7.8% to 3 to 10.6%. Same thing with vigor. Same thing with invigorated. And refreshing ward now triggers after 4 hits instead of 5, so big buffs here. Refreshing evasion bonus has been reduced from 0.98% to 0.75%. So refreshing evasion got a little bit of a nerf. Reinforced logging luck reduced the chance this perk will spawn on random dropped and crafted by a significant amount. Same thing with reinforced mining luck. They reduce the chance that that perk will spawn on random dropped and crafting gear by a significant amount. Same thing with reinforced harvesting luck, reinforced skinning luck. Ancient ward can now roll on shields and reduce the chance this perk will be generated in crafting or drops by a small amount. And same thing with angry earth ward can now roll on shields and reduce by a small amount for crafted and drops. Beast ward, same thing, can roll on shields, reduce the chance this perk will be generated in crafting or drops by a large amount. So beast ward's going to be significantly reduced as far as a chance to get that on items by both crafting and by drops. Corrupted ward can now roll on shields as well, and they reduce the chance this perk will be generated in crafting or drops by a small amount. And lost ward can now roll on shields and reduce the chance this perk will be generated in crafting or drops by a small amount. So all these changes are pretty significant. So if you didn't catch it the first time, go back and read it or rewind the video. These are some pretty significant changes. So basically, the good perks have been buffed, except for refreshing evasion, and all the luck stuff, for gathering has been reduced as far as, appearing on items and stuff when you craft or when you get them in drops. So weapon perks. Keenly jagged. So they changed the damage and cooldown from 7% weapon damage and 10-second cooldown and increased it to 10% weapon damage and a 7-second cooldown. So big buff on keenly jagged. So they increased the damage and they decrease the cooldown that it can proc, basically. Keen speed, they changed the move speed duration and cooldown from 30%, 3 seconds. Wait a second. Oh yeah, and a 5-second cooldown to 20% and 10 seconds and a 10-second cooldown. So they decreased the amount, the speed duration. So change the move speed duration and cooldown from 30% in 3 seconds with a 5-second cooldown to 20%, 10 seconds, and a 10-second cooldown. Siphoning blow, reduce the cooldown from 10 seconds to 2 seconds and reduce the chance this perk will be generated in crafting or drops. Chain lightning, increase the damage from 11% to 15%. And same thing with all the different chains. Chain fire, chain arcane, chain void, chain ice, and chain nature, all from 11% to 15%. So they're buffing, the different chain lightning and change elemental effects. Now, mortal lifesteal, they increased the health gained and lowered the cooldown from 3 to 5% with a 5-second cooldown to 3 to 7% with a 1-second cooldown, and reduce the chance this perk will be generated in crafting or drops. Mortal Siphoning, they increase the mana gain and lower the cooldown from 3 to 4 to 9% with a 5-second cooldown to 3 to 11% with a 1-second cooldown, and reduce the chance this perk will be generated in crafting or drops. Mortal Energy, they increase the stamina gain and lower the cooldown from 5 to 15% with 5-second cooldown to 5 to 35% with a 1-second cooldown, and reduce the chance it'll be generated in crafting or drops. Mortal Refreshment, increase the cooldown reduction from 5% with a 5-second cooldown to 10% with a 1-second cooldown, and reduce the chances perk will be generated in crafting or drops. Mortal Fortification, decrease the cooldown and increase the duration and effectiveness from 5-second cooldown to a... Okay, sorry, gonna have to reread this. So, Mortal Fortification, decrease the cooldown and increase the duration and effectiveness from 5-second cooldown and 3-second duration, and a 10% fortify to 1-second cooldown, 10-second duration, and a 15% fortify. Also reduce the chance this perk will be generated in crafting or drops. Mortal Power, and decrease the cooldown and increase the duration from 2-second cooldown, 5-second duration to 1-second cooldown, 20-second duration. Also reduce the chance this perk will be generated in crafting and drops. Hated, increase the threat levels from 5 to 15% to, oh my god. Wow, so Hated is getting a huge buff, so tanking is going to be a lot easier. So they increase the threat levels from, get this, 5 to 15% to 50 to 150%, and reduce the chance this perk will be generated. Kind, they increased the threat reduction from 5 to 15 to 15 to 45%, and added a max reduction of 99% from all sources, and reduced the chance this perk will be generated. Shirking Flames, increase the damage and duration from 5 seconds and 20% to 6 seconds and 40%, and exclusive label from proc to elemental. So exclusive label, so instead of procking, it's always good. I don't know. We'll have to explore that. If you guys know, leave in the comments what that exactly means. So again, all these different shirking things, they increase the damage and duration. Well, they're all different numbers, so I'll just read each one. So again, Shirking Flames, increase the damage and duration from 5 seconds and 20% to 6 seconds and 40%. And for all of these, this is what I want information on. They changed the exclusive label from proc to elemental. So in my head, I'm thinking, instead of having a chance to proc, I guess it's just always going to be active. I'm not sure. So Shirking Nature, increase the damage and duration. Oh, it's going to be elemental damage. Okay, it's going to be changed to elemental damage, I guess. So Shirking Nature, increase the damage and duration from 5 seconds to and 20% to 6 seconds and 40%. And it looks like that is the case for all the Shirking elemental stuff. So Shirking Nature, Shirking Frost, Shirking Lightning, Shirking Abyss, Shirking Arcane is all going from 5 seconds and 20% to 6 seconds and 40%. So twice the amount of damage and 1 second longer from all the different Shirking elemental damages. So for Flame Attunement, reduce cooldown and increase damage from 15% and 2 seconds to 18% in 1 second from proc to elemental. Frost Attunement, Arboreal Attunement, Abyssal Attunement, those have had the reduction, the reduced cooldown and increased damage in all the same amounts from 15 to 18% and from 2 seconds to 1 second cooldowns. So Thwarting Counter, they increase the damage bonus by 5%, 15 to 20%. Trenchant Strikes, increase damage bonus from 15 to 20%. Trenchant Crits, increase the damage bonus from 5 to 19 to 5 to 30%. Trenchant Recovery, increase damage bonus from 10 to 29% to 10 to 41%. Rogue, reduce the chance this perk will be generated in crafting or drops by a small amount. I don't get that because Rogue has always been pretty rare. Beastbane, reduce the chance this perk will be generated in crafting or drops. Ancient Bane, reduce the chance this perk will be generated in crafting or drops by a small amount. Same thing with Angry Earthbane. And Beastbane, reduce the chances perk will be generated in crafting or okay, so that's just repeated. Corrupted Bane, reduce the chances perk will be generated in crafting or drops by a small amount. Lost Bane, reduce the chances perk will be generated in crafting or drops by a small amount. Accuracy, reduces the chance this perk will be generated in crafting or drops, doesn't say how much. Flame Shield, Frost Shield, or Flame Shield Ward, Frost Shield Ward, Void Shield Ward all increase the percentage absorption from 2 up to 5% to 4 up to 10%. So 2 to 5 to 4 to 10. And that's for all the different Flame Shield Ward, Frost Shield Ward, Void Shield Ward. Now, the Rust Shield Ward, same thing. They increase the absorption percentage from 2 to 5% to 4 to 10%. Same thing with Slashing Shield Ward, Arcane Shield Ward, and with Arcane Shield Ward, they also reduce the chances perk will be generated in crafting or drops. Lightning Shield Ward, same thing. Increase the absorption percentage from 2 to 5 to 4 to 10%, and reduce the chances perk will be generated in crafting or drops. Strike Shield Ward, increase the percentage absorption from 2 to 5% to 4 to 10%. And Sure Footing, reduce the chances perk will be generated in crafting or drops. Amulet perks. So Flame Protection, increase the damage reduction from 2 to 4.9% to 2 to 10%. And that goes for Flame Protection, Frozen Protection, Nature Protection, Void Protection, Thrust Protection, Slash Protection, Arcane Protection, Lightning Protection, and Strike Protection. All increase the damage reduction for all of these from 2 to 4.9% all the way to 2 to 10%. So they basically just increased the ceiling by, or pretty much doubled it. Now, as far as Alacrity goes, they increase the duration bonus from 5 to 15% to 5 to 30%. And same thing for Empowered, increased duration bonus from 5 to 15 to 5 to 30. Fortified, they increase the duration bonus from 5 to 15 to 5 to 30. And Mana Recovery, they decrease the cooldown reduction from 60 to 30 seconds and reduce the chances perk will be generated in crafting or drops. Adored Logging Luck, now these are all for amulets. Adored Logging Luck, they reduce the chances perk will spawn on random dropped and crafted gear by a significant amount. And same with Adored Harvesting Luck. Same for Adored Mining Luck and Skinning Luck. Again, for all these different gathering luck on your amulets, all the Adored gathering lucks, they have reduced the chance this perk will spawn on random and dropped spawn on random dropped and crafted gear by a significant amount. So for Shirking Dot Cleanse, they decrease the cooldown from 15 seconds to 7 seconds, and for Shirking Debilitate Cleanse, decrease the cooldown from 15 seconds to 7 seconds, so more than half. Now for Ring perks, Siphoning, they decrease the cooldown from 10 seconds to 2 second cooldown and reduce the chances perk will be generated in crafting or drops. Poisoning, they increase the duration from 5 to 15 to 10 to 30%. Crippling, increase the duration from 5 to 15 to 10 to 30%. Same with Enfeebling, increase the duration from 5 to 15 to 10 to 30%. Infected, increase the duration from 5 to 15 to 10 to 30%. Focus, they increase the effectiveness from 5 to 9.8% to 25 to 49%, so a huge amount. And Brilliant, they increase the max mana from 5 to 10% to 10 to 20%. And for Brilliant, they also reduce the chance this perk will be generated in crafting or drops. Now for Earring perks, Focused, they reduce the mana regen rate from 5 to 9.8% to... Focus, they reduce the mana regeneration rate from 5 to 9.8% to 15 to 29%. So I think it should say increase the mana regen rate from 5 to 9.8% to 15 to 20. Yeah, and reduce the chances perk will be generated in crafting or drops. I think that's supposed to be they increase the mana regeneration rate. So yeah, I hope I'm reading that right. Excuse me if I'm not. Despise, they increase the threat levels from 5 to 15% to 50 to 150%. Same thing that they did with Hate on, whatever other piece of gear that was on. And they reduce the chance that this perk will be generated in crafting or drops. Beloved, increased the threat reduction from 5 to 15% to 15 to 45% and added a max reduction of 99% from all sources and reduced the chance this perk will be generated in crafting or drops. So for all these other ones, so Evasion, Health Toast, Mana Toast. Now these are all earring perks. Arcanist Mastery, Armor Mastery, Cooking Mastery, Engineer Mastery, Jewel Crafter Mastery, and Weaponsmithing Mastery. So again, Evasion, Health Toast, Mana Toast, Arcane Mastery, Armor Mastery, Cooking Mastery, Engineering Mastery, Jewel Crafter Mastery, and Weaponsmithing. For all of these, they reduce the chance that these perks will be generated in crafting or drops. It doesn't say by significant or small amount. They just reduced it across the board. So we've got some skill perk changes. So for the Hatchet, Empowering Rending Throw, range attack attacks now deal 10, 21, and 31% more damage versus Rending Throw targets. Vorpal Distancing Throw has been renamed to Refreshing Distance Throw and now reduces cooldown by 10, 30, and 49% if within 6 meters of your target. Mending Infected Throw. This perk now triggers when a target with Infected Throw dies and heals for 10, 21, and 31% max health. Energizing Feral Rush. This has been renamed to Crippling Feral Rush and now causes a 10, 20, and 30% slow for 3 seconds when it hits. Refreshing Torrent. Recharge increase while on a hatchet to 1 to 4.8%. Oh no, I'm sorry. For Refreshing Torrent, the recharge increased while on a hatchet to 1, 4.8%, and 8.5%. For Keen Berserk, now has increased critical chance while on a hatchet, 1, 14%, and 27%. For the Hammer, Refreshing Mighty Gravel, should I say Mighty Gavel? Whatever, I'm just going to read what I'm reading. Refreshing Mighty Gravel now recharges 5, 9.8, and 4% on hit, max 3 targets. Repulsing Clear Out now has increased effectiveness 50, 146, and 209% while on a hammer. Penetrating Wrecking Ball now has increased effectiveness 5, 19, and 33% while on a hammer. Sundering Shockwave now has increased effectiveness 5, 9.8, and 14% while on a hammer. Leeching Path of Destiny now has increased effectiveness 10, 29, and 47% while on a hammer. And Empowered Armor Breaker now has increased effectiveness 3, 29%, and 50% while on a hammer. Musket, Refreshing Power Shot now has increased effectiveness while on a musket, and the cooldown increased from 3 to 20% to 8.5, 54, and 98%. Energizing Stopping Power has been renamed to Repulsing Stopping Power and now increases knockback distances by 25, 97, and 151%. Accelerating Traps now has an increased effectiveness 5, 19, and 33% while on a musket, and the duration increased from 3 seconds to 5 seconds. Mending Sticky Bombs now has an increased effectiveness 10, 21, and 31% while on a musket, and Empowering Shooter Stance now has an increased effectiveness 4, 23, and 41% while on a musket, and Crippling Powder Burn now has an increased effectiveness of 4, 24, and 42% while on a musket. So the bow Energizing Evade Shot now has increased effectiveness while on a bow at 4, 19, and 34, and also reduces cooldown by 3, 14, and 25%. Fortifying Rain of Arrows renamed to Lasting Rain of Arrows and now causes slows and bleed from Rain of Arrows to last 10, 20, and 30% longer. Enfeebling Poison Shot, weakness is now increased when on a bow, 3, 14, and 25%. Also increased the duration from 4 to 6 seconds. Explosive Arrow now deals increased damage when on a bow at 4, 19, and 34%. Penetrating Rapid Fire now affects all rapid fire attacks, and the armor penetration is increased while on a bow 5, 19, and 33%. And refreshing penetrating shot cooldown is increased while on a bow at 3, 14, and 25%. Rapier Energizing Flourish is now renamed Deadly Flourish, and it now deals 10, 25, and 39% more damage versus targets below 50%. Omnidirectional Evade now also deals 1, 10, and 19% bonus damage after using Evade. Keen Tondo now has increased critical chance while on a rapier at 2, 12, and 21%. Sundering Repost now has increased rend while on a rapier 5, 15, and 24%. Leeching Flurry now has increased lifesteal when on a rapier at 10, 29, and 47%. Refreshing Flesh now has increased cooldown while on a rapier at 5, 19, and 33%. Life Staff. So Refreshing Divine Embrace, they fixed a bug that causes this not to function and also added a bonus effect. So now it grants 10, 41, and 69% recharge and 1 to 3 1 3.5 and 5.8% mana when triggered. Energizing Splash of Light has been renamed to Purity of Light, and it now heals for 10, 48, and 85% of weapon damage if Splash of Light removes a condition. Accelerating Light's Embrace increases the duration of this buff from 3 seconds to 5 seconds, and the modifier now scales higher when on a life staff at 5, 18, and 30%. Revitalizing Beacon, renamed to Vicious Beacon. Now, when Beacon heals a player, it grants 2, 6.1, and 10% critical chance for 6 seconds. Fortifying Sacred Ground now has increased Fortify while on a life staff at 3, 9.7, and 16%, and Mending Protection now increased the healing effectiveness while on a life staff at 5, 24, and 42%. These are huge changes. So one thing I want you to remember when I'm saying all these different percentages is remember the first two numbers, like for example, Mending Protection. So now increase the healing effectiveness while on a life staff at 5 and 24%. These are the min and the max that you can have on armor, and 42% is the max that you can have on weapons. So let me say that one more time for anybody that's confused. When I'm calling out these different percentages, remember, like Fortified Sacred Ground now has increased Fortify while on a life staff. 3 and 9% is the min and the max on armor, but if it's on a life staff, it can go all the way up to 16%. And again, Mending Protection now increase the healing effectiveness while on a life staff. It can go all the way up to 42% if it's on a weapon, and it could go, and the min and max on armor is 5 to 24%. So remember, 5 to 24 is for the armor, and up to 42% max on a weapon. So that means the weapon percentage can be up to 42%. Now, I don't know what the minimum would be, but we know the maximum would be up to 42%. Because what they said, and let me find it really quick. Here it is right here. So skill perks now have a greatly increased effect when on a weapon versus armor. This will be displayed in update notes as da-da-da, and 30%. The first two numbers being the min and max on armor, and the last being the max on weapons. Now, I don't know, I guess it just scales up to 30%, but yeah, I'm not really sure. It's kind of confusing, but again, that's what that means. The first two numbers are the min and max on armor, and the last being the max on the weapons. Okay, so again, when I'm saying these different percentages, first two armor, last is the max on weapons. So we left off at life staff. So fire staff, empowering meteor shower now grants 1, 2, and 2.9% damage per hit for 10 seconds. Max stacks 10. Siphoning incinerate has been, so for empowering meteor shower, it grants 1% to 2% for armor and max of 2.9% on a weapon. Siphoning incinerate has been renamed to stable incinerate. This perk now grants grit to incinerate and causes incinerate to deal 3 to 12% on armor, 20 max on more damage on a weapon. Accelerating Flamethrower now increases burn duration from the Flamethrower by 10, 15, and 19% on weapons. Efficient Burnout now grants a 5, 19, and 33% more damage and grants 20, 77, and 132% mana regen. This effect ends on your first hit. Refreshing Pillar of Fire now has increased cooldown at 3, 14, and 25% while on a Fire Staff. Empowering Fireball now has increased damage at 5, 32, and 58% while on a Fire Staff. And all these changes are probably going to go through some major balancing. We'll see what happens. It's going to be pretty crazy. Sword and Shield, Empowering Whirling Blade now deals more damage at 10, 30, and 50%. Repulsing Shield Bash renamed to Diminishing Shield Bash, reduced buffs duration by 15, 30%, and 45%. Fortifying Shield Rush, increased Fortify by 5, 19, and 33% while on a shield, and the duration increased from 4 to 6 seconds. Accelerated Defiant Stance duration has been increased from 5 seconds to 6 seconds, and movement speed has been reduced from 5 to 30% to 5, 20, and 33%, and incoming healing is increased by 2, 7.7, and 13% while on a shield. Contagious Stab now also increases reverse stab damage by 5, 10, and 15%, and Empowering Leaping Strike now only increases sword damage and increases damage by 3, 7, and 31% while on a sword. Great Axe. Refreshing Charge. If Unpredictable Strike hits, it recharges 5, 30, and 54% charge faster. Mending Execute now has a 10, 30, and 50% life stealing. Crippling Reap increased slow speed by 5, 31, and 50% while on a Great Axe. Also, the duration increased from 2 seconds to 4 seconds. Fortifying Whirlwind now grants 3, 6.6, and 10% damage and damage absorption for 2 seconds, max 5 stacks. Maelstrom increased damage reduction at 3, 14, and 25% while on a Great Axe, and increased weakened duration from 4 seconds to 8 seconds. And Insatiable Gravity Well damage bonus increased, oh my god, 15, sorry. Insatiable Gravity Well damage bonus increased 15, 34, and 52% while on a Great Axe. Ice Gauntlet. Unbroken Winds now has grit and increases damage 10, 25, and 40% if on an Ice Gauntlet. Unending Thaw now increases Ice Storm damage by 1, 5.9, and 10%. Pylon Burst also increases Pylon's damage by 1.5, 5.8, and 10%. Healing Tomb now heals for 5, 18, and 30% of base health when Entomb ends. Deadly Frost now recharges Ice Shower by 5, 9.8, and 14%. Ice Refresh has increased cooldown at 20, 77, and 100% while on an Ice Gauntlet. Spear. Bleeding Sweep increases the bleed damage while on a spear at 2, 9.6, and 17%. Also, the duration from 4 seconds to 8 seconds. Enfeebling Skewer increased the effectiveness of the weakness at 3, 24, and 44%. Keen Vault Kick increased critical chance bonus at 2, 19, and 36%. Fortifying Perforate increased Fortify at 2, 9.6, and 17% while on a spear. Sundering Javelin increased the rend effectiveness at 5, 10, and 25% while on a spear. And Leeching Cyclone increased Cyclone life stealing at 10, 32, and 53% while on a spear. These are just insane numbers. Void Gauntlet. Empowering Rupture increased in power at 10, 31, and 49%. Also increased the duration from 5 seconds to 10 seconds, and now triggers when the target dies for any reason. Nullifying Oblivion now recharges Oblivion 5, 9.8, and 14% faster. Putrefying Scream increased healing effectiveness at 10, 29, and 40% while on a Void Gauntlet. Also now lasts 8 seconds instead of 10 seconds. And I think they're saying while on a such and such, meaning, you know, this last number while on the weapon, this last number while on the weapon, this last number while on the weapon. So Voracious Blade increased healing effectiveness at 10, 31% to 51% while on a weapon. Slowing tether, increase slow effectiveness at 20, 31, and 40% while on a void gauntlet. And diminishing orb, increase buff duration reduction. Increase buff reduction at 20, 51, and 70% while on a void gauntlet. And lastly, blunderbuss, resupply mortar charge, now also grants empower by 3, 8.7, and 14% on a kill. Crippling blast, increase slow effectiveness at 5, 19, and 33% while on the weapon. Plague splitting grenade, increase disease effectiveness at 5, 15, and 24% while on a weapon. Exhaustive net, increased exhaust effectiveness at 10 to 34 for armor and 57% while on a blunderbuss. Venturing claw shot, increase empower effectiveness at 5 to 19% and up to 33 max while on a blunderbuss. And leeching shrapnel blast, increase lifesteal effectiveness at 5, 15, and 24% while on a weapon. So PTR only changes. So this is just for the PTR, guys. So camping is now unlocked by default on the PTR. Game mode, so Outpost Rush, increase repeater damage by 25% and increase ballista damage by 15%. Invasions, they fix the canceled invasions counting as a loss for players. War, they fix an issue causing the Cutlass Keys faction control point to provide a smaller than anticipated gathering luck bonus. Perks, Life Staff, and again, this is only in the PTR, guys. Perk Purity of Light gives allies additional percentage of heal. Okay, so the perk Purity of Light gives allies additional % heal of the weapon damage regardless if any debuff is being cleansed. World AI, they fix an issue causing the Varangian Scouts double swing to not damage the player. UX, UI, and social, notable fixes, fix an issue where an error message was displaying for a couple seconds when first entering the character transfer world list, and fix an issue where players were being locked out of the transfer transaction window if the purchase button was spam clicked. Quality of life change, PTR only again, and added a notification for when an item received from a reward chest is dropped due to the inventory cap. In-game store, they fix an issue where an incorrect animation would play if a player previewed the weapon skins while having no weapon equipped. And finally, and trust me, this is a relieving finally for all of us, notable fixes, fix an instance server startup crash and fix a client crash related to particle drawing. People, I am so sorry it took so long. You know how I do this. I try to be thorough, and I'm going to go back and edit this just to make sure I didn't give any repeat information, because man, what an update. There is just so many crazy changes. I don't know how they're going to get the balancing done with all this stuff. I mean, these numbers and percentages are just insanely high. So I'm excited, but I'm kind of nervous. There's going to be a lot of balancing needed, and probably a lot of changes that are going to be happening. So to help them out, make sure you guys get on that PTR and do what you can. Help them figure this out. Let them know what's crazy overpowered, what's underpowered, and just help balance everything. They could sure use the help, and they are really going out of their way to make this a better game for everybody. So I just hope it all works out. If any of you guys have any questions or you want to add something, maybe something I missed, something I got wrong, leave it in the comments. And for future updates, I will be on top of it. I'm so sorry that I was late on this one, but going forward, everything should be much better and much quicker. So I'm back to work, and we're going to get back into the swing of things. So thank you so much for taking your time to watch this. And as usual, you guys all have a great day. Take care, stay in there. For anybody that's suffering from depression, just go out and talk to somebody, find somebody. It helps. And a big shout out to my man, Matt Patterson. You've been a big help in my life and my recovery in every aspect. Thank you so much, brother, for being there. And I love you, man. Don't ever forget that. All right, I'm going to shut up. Take it easy, everybody. Slender out.